All right. We'll give everyone a sec to file in while we're waiting for everyone to file in because we like to give it 1 or 2 minutes for people to get in because that can happen. If you could use the chat, let us know where you are, your name, obviously, that helps. It's attached to your account, but we'll see it anyways. But I'm curious where people are coming in from across the country. So just use the chat. Let us know. Make sure you're sending it to everyone. So it's not just going to the hosts and panelists. But if you're here, so we got Halton Hills, David with the first one. We got Montreal, Calgary, Burlington, Toronto. We got all across the country. Awesome. Barrie, Edmonton, Montreal. Aurelia, some note takers coming in. All right, so we got a pretty good group here coming in. So how this is going to work, it's pretty straightforward. We're going to do a quick little intro and then we're going to dive right in because we want to make this as much content as possible. And you don't want to hear me just ramble. You're here for the panelists we have that are awesome. So, but first, what we'll do is I'm going to introduce Don Kotick, who's the new-ish president of Remax Canada. So, Don, for those who don't know who you are, maybe quick introduction on yourself.
Well, great. Well, thanks, Andrew. Thanks for hosting this today. I'm Don Kotick, and I'm the president of Remax Canada. I've been in the role basically 7 months now. Prior to that, I did 6 years at Sotheby's International Realty Canada. Prior to that, I've been was the president of Right at Home for a number of years. I worked at Royal LePage, been a vice president of Royal LePage, been a number of positions throughout the industry, been a director on the Canadian Real Estate Association, past president of the Real Estate Institute of Canada, and yeah, thrilled to be here at Remax, and thrilled to be here with such a prominent group of some of the top realtors across the country, and yeah, it's great to be here.
Awesome. Now I know you have the distinct honor of probably doing our favorite part of the webinar, reading the legal disclaimer from legal.
Absolutely. So this is the fun part. So just sit back and enjoy this. But the contents of this webinar and the views and opinions expressed by the participants and others are their own and do not necessarily reflect the position or policy of Remax Canada or its affiliates. Experience of Remax sales associates and franchisees are varied and depend on many factors, including the skill and commitment. This webinar is not intended as an offer to sell or the solicitation of an offer to buy a Remax franchise only. It is intended only for real estate sales agents and sales associates. A franchise is offered in many jurisdictions in Canada only by delivery of a franchise disclosure document to you in compliance with applicable franchise laws. This webinar is for informational purposes only and is not intended to and does not supplement or otherwise modify the content of any franchise disclosure document that has been or may be provided to you. Further, if you are currently affiliated with another franchisor, this material is not intended to offer a Remax franchise or solicit a change in affiliation. There you go, Andrew. Quite a
So
mouthful.
after that, I think I'm going to draft you to read my kids' bedtime stories. All right, so if we bring we'll bring the panelists up now. So if all the panelists can come and turn on your videos, we'll get everyone in and we'll dive right in. So I think we're just waiting. We got Matt. So basically, we're gonna dive in very quick intro. So we'll start with the Stone sisters from Kelowna. I've known Shannon and Tamara for 11, 12 years. I think I met you guys at a Remax event back
Mhm.
then, and you guys were on stage together talking negotiation. And I've kind of learned a lot from you guys over the years, and always respected when you guys have anything to say. So, a quick introduction on your end, if I missed anything.
I don't think so. Thank you so much for having us. Yeah, Tamara and I are partners, and we are legitimately sisters. Lots of people ask us that question. We are. We've been working together since I got into the business 20 years ago. Tamara's been selling. Don't hit me, Tamara. She's been selling for
Shh,
30 years. She doesn't like
we
me
don't
telling everybody
admit
that.
that to people.
She started when she was 12, so it's okay. We work in Kelowna, BC, sunny Okanagan.
Awesome. And then we also have Matt Regan and Alex Irish. So I've gone back with Matt for a long time as well. Him and I have known each other for a long time. And I just recently met Alex as well. Both really, really smart realtors, team leaders from kind of like the Mississauga, Burlington area. I think more Mississauga, if I'm not mistaken. But I'll let you guys You guys recently combined forces, two really good teams on their own, coming together.
Yeah,
Go for it, Alex.
I've been selling. Yeah, you want me to say how old I am? I've been selling for 1 year, so think nothing tomorrow. I'm way older than you are. And Matthew, 2019, right? 19?
22 years, yeah.
2 years. So we joined forces about a year ago. It was interesting. I do Oakville, Burlington. Matthew was predominantly Mississauga to Oakville. And so Matthew said we shared backyards, but we never knew each other. So had a coffee about just over a year ago. And on Friday, it'll be 1 year. Thursday, tomorrow, it'll be 1 year that we've been together.
Oh,
Awesome. So,
Okay, say
well,
something.
yeah. This is being recorded. We're gonna send it out to everyone when it's done. And then if you have questions, put them in the chat. I can't promise we're gonna get to every question that goes into the chat for the panelists, but we have a list of questions that we kind of solicited ahead of time as well. But we'll open it up. Well, Don, kick us off.
Yeah, well, I think everybody knows that there's a lot of fascination with the luxury, ultra luxury market. It's an area where a lot of people, aspire to get into, and they have a lot of questions about this whole segment of the market. So probably the first question is, maybe you can just share with us how you actually got into getting into the luxury and the ultra luxury part of the market.
Well, we start with Alex.
Mm. So I didn't live in a luxury neighborhood, but I knew people that did. And my kids went to private school, so I knew a few people. And so I just decided that was an area I was going to work because I was going to move down there. So I just started attending open houses, made sure I knew all the agents, knew all the inventory, and then looked for common connections to sort of get me in the door. And I was able to get in pretty quickly once I'd done my groundwork.
How about you, Matt? Or
My-
Tamara?
Yeah, my journey into what I would say luxury, not ultra, but just luxury, is a somewhat boring story. I was 19. We had a bunch of houses, two houses to be exact, that a local builder had developed 22 years ago. Those are $1,650,000, $1,750,000, and I see we've got guests here from all over this vast country in different price segments. So in today's dollars, that's like $4.5 to $5.5 million. So here's this pimple-faced kid, can barely shave, hosting open houses every single weekend. And I had never sold a house up until that point. And in walks a guy named Andrew and his wife, Linda. And lo and behold, I hit it off with them. Human to human interaction. Andrew played football in the NFL for the Cincinnati Bengals. He's since retired. And I knew a thing or two about football. So I showed him a house on Queen Victoria Avenue in South Mississauga, and the rest is history. My first ever sale was $1,750,000, close to $5 million in today's dollars. And I just kept at it. Maybe I was naive, but I think if it isn't broken, don't try to fix it.
The Bengals legend Andrew Whitworth.
Hey, Matt, what a small world it is. He played for Edmonton, correct?
He did. Oh my goodness. Yes,
Yeah.
he did.
What a small world. Oh my God.
And I'm the only Canadian Bengals fan, I think. There's no one else here.
Yeah, there you go. Wow. That is a small world.
We'll take that offline.
Tamara.
I was just going to say, like Alex, I think, I started young, like Matthew, but there was nobody who was going to buy or sell a really expensive home with me when I got in. So I was really in the trenches in condos in, $75,000 was the first sale that I had in 1995. But like Alex, I think Shannon and I both decided that we'd like to work in that segment of the market. We polished up our suits. We're known for wearing white all the time. So Shannon has a marketing background. We got into sort of branding ourselves, getting out and networking and finding out who all the players. in that luxury market were. And then something that we started then and we do to this day, we really started going to all kinds of events. So just being seen, being visible at fundraisers, at charity events, going together and sort of like we do at conferences, but working the room and cultivating those relationships.
Shannon, like kind of
Yeah,
jumping
I
in.
mean, the only thing that I would probably add is, as Tamara said, it was an evolution sort of over time. It wasn't a direct shift. I think if somebody's wanting to look into the luxury market and they're not currently there, what we started to do, as Tamara sort of said, is we started to provide extra service to all levels of the price points. So we just really increased our level of service. We increased our printing materials, our visuals, and then that sort of obtained us the credibility to move into that luxury market. So it was a slow process, but well worth it.
I'm curious.
Actually, that. Oh,
Oh, go
sorry.
ahead,
Go
Tom.
ahead, Andrew.
So we do have a question already in the chat from Jennifer, which is just asking if you guys got a luxury marketing designation, and if so, which ones?
I got it. I did it 10 years ago, that certified luxury home marketing specialist. We have it on our website. I had it on one rendition of business cards. Was it helpful? No. I mean, maybe yes. I mean, I don't know that the public, I mean, I think any, letters, initials after your name, certainly there's some value in the course itself. But does the designation, is that going to be a green light to luxury? No.
Okay. So
Yeah.
actually, just Shannon, in her little speech there, was you referenced the fact that you started in a conventional market. Maybe you can talk about how a conventional listing presentation differs from a luxury listing presentation, and why don't we kick it off? Go back to Shannon on that one.
Oh, put me on the spot, but no, that's okay. So, I mean, really, again, as I said, we started to over deliver in our level of service for all price segments. Today, we do things a little bit differently in the luxury market, and that's just more the visuals, the print materials. We get them specially printed. They're feature sheets. They're glossier. They're higher end. Whereas in the lower segment of the market, I guess you could say is, I wouldn't say standard. They're still beautiful feature sheets, still beautiful materials. We still have a fantastic photographer that takes all of our photos and that sort of thing. But as far as the actual marketing itself, it is just a little bit more elevated. We do a lifestyle video for our luxury properties, really trying to sell the feeling of a home. And that's something that's different from sort of a standard property that you would say, because the luxury market is based, they don't have to buy typically. Their motivation's a little different. So we're really trying to capture on that emotion that they have. And that's through, we've had videos where we have a helicopter dropping people off and we have a party and people jumping into a pool. And, we've done lots of different things to try to sell who's that buyer and target specifically. And those properties always sell right after we have those videos to who we're targeting in those videos. It's so interesting to see how that marketing works. As far as the actual evaluation itself, you're more discreet in a luxury evaluation. Confidentiality is a very big, process or component of for the luxury segment. So making sure that everything's confidential. You're more hands-on with the luxury market. A lot of them are skilled. They know, they know the market. They've bought and sold. They're very familiar with buying and selling properties. You become more of an advisor. So you have to know your materials inside and out and really dig to find that information they don't know. So that you can come across as that advisor as opposed to just being a realtor. Tamara, anything to add on that?
No, I mean, I guess in the listing evaluation itself, our regular CMA that we do, it's a one step. We go, we meet the people, we send a pre-listing package ahead of time by email. We go, we meet them, we do a walkthrough, and then we email, follow up the phone call and an emailed market evaluation. In the luxury segment, when we get over, say, 2 million here, our average home price in Kelowna is about 1 million. So when we get to that luxury, which is 2 or even approaching 3 million now, we'll deliver a pre-listing package. So we like to go and take that to the home. Again, impressing people with the quality. It's a thick, glossy sort of book about us. Spend a lot of time, not very much time talking about us in the appointment, a lot of time talking about them, Then we go away, do our research, and we come back and meet with them again to actually go over and do the evaluation. And at that point, really, I don't find it's of course they want our opinion on price, but they have a good sense in their mind. They've got financial advisors. They may have had an appraisal done or what have you. And they've certainly talked to other agents in most cases. So they sort of know what price they want. And it's on that second meeting that we get to convince them, the value that we bring to the table that's unique.
Before we jump to Matt and Alex's answers for that, Tamara, there's just a follow-up from someone here about what do you include in your pre-list package that you send ahead of the meeting?
Yeah, so in the pre-listing package, so we have in our marketing book, we call it, we have examples of, we travel a lot with our listings. So we show examples of postcards that we do, the magazines that we're in, an example of a feature sheet, the glossy, it's almost a card stock. It's a really thick brochure. We have an introduction to the system, sort of showing our flow chart for Stone Sisters. And, we assure people that we will be their leads, but there are a lot of people behind the scenes. And there's just an introduction on that. And we do have some reviews in there as well.
Awesome.
Maybe switching over to either Alex or Matthew, one of the questions came up. Do you rely more heavily on digital or print when you're dealing with luxury buyers and sellers?
You want to go, Matt?
Sure. I'll handle that's an interesting question as we head into 2026 and the advancements in technology. Alex actually opened my eyes a little bit on this, and I'll move this over to the ultra luxury for a minute, like 15 million, 40 million, 15 to 40 million. We used to have a canned presentation, canned from the standpoint, glossy this and magazines that, of which we all do, by the way. So if you're not doing that, you may want to invest in it. Alex had the idea, and it at first glance sounds a little maybe boring, but it's not. And that was a PowerPoint presentation. So what we've done is after we go through the home, we invite the seller to come over to the office. We often have a light catered lunch and drinks. We're trying to make them feel very much at home. Thankfully, in our office, we have a wonderful presentation center. Like there's a big TV. We hook a laptop onto it, and we have a customized luxury listing presentation. Now, the word presentation can scare me. If you're anything like me, my time is valuable. I get agitated real quick if I feel you're wasting it. And I like to think that people in the ultra kind of have high net worth, they're no different. So in about 10 pages of a PowerPoint that is somewhat interactive, we're covering on what we feel are 7 to 8 of the most kind of the meat and potatoes. There is no fluff in this presentation whatsoever. And a lot of, if you're kind of sitting there going, okay, that's great, Matthew, but what's actually in it? Well, what's in it is what NAR says sellers look for. So if you are trying to figure out what your presentation should look like, you need to ask yourself a question. What's the seller looking for in selecting an agent? Well, one of the top 3 things every year, according to the NAR data, is the seller wants to know that we can find a buyer. It's just that simple. It may seem rudimentary to us because we're in the business, but what Alex and I have then done is we've created these buckets, if you will, or different avenues that we're able to go and find buyers. And it's very unique. And admittedly, it is a lot of work, and we do not do it for every listing presentation. You just simply can't. And we've used it about 8 or 9 times now, and we come out of those meetings with, like, I'm going to be bragging here about like a lot of success. Why? Because I don't think they've ever seen it. I don't think the agent is taking the time to make a 2-step evaluation, and let alone bringing them into think of it like bringing them into our home for a light lunch and an information session.
The only thing I would add to that is when you think of what's different between a regular listing appointment, or a luxury one, in my world, they're very similar. The difference is because you're always customizing and you're always looking for the client's pain point. And that should come into the presentation you give them. You're centered around what they need you to do. But the one thing that is very different at the luxury level, and especially the Uber luxury, and we have several Uber high listings, is it's a very slow process. You slow that right down. So when you talk about what you're taking in on your pre-listing and stuff, it's me. I go with nothing. I go and it's an introduction. It's to get to know them, get to know me. I'm looking for common bonds, something that we have in common that builds a conversation. I usually follow it up with a note, a second meeting, a coffee. By the time I'm going and looking at the house, I've seen them several times. And sometimes that's over the span of a month if they're ready to move. And sometimes it's over the span of years. We have a very large listing now, a $39 million listing. That was probably 4 years of dating before I got it. It's kind of a courtship, right? They're getting to know you, they're getting to trust you. You have to remember at the uber luxury level, they have a lot of advisors, they have a lot of people going after them, wanting their listing, promising them all types of stuff. So they're very vulnerable. They're very vulnerable. It's probably the least the characteristic you think is least likely to find them, but they are very vulnerable. They hear a ton of stuff. They hear a lot of people making a lot of promises, and they just are looking for an authentic answer. And so I concentrate in the first couple steps is just getting to know them and figuring out what they want me to do. And then it's easier to put together the presentation. Matthew's brilliant with the marketing side, and so we've been able to take it to the next level. But we've kind of got them interested before they get there.
And Tamara, I've seen you've raised your hand. Do you have a follow-up point on that?
Yeah, I just wanted to add to what Matthew was saying in that is the number one thing that I think all sellers are looking for is they want the confidence that you can find a buyer. And in British Columbia in 2018, they got rid of double ending, of the ability for a realtor or real estate team to represent both a buyer and seller. All the realtors in our province, I think we have a number online here, we're all aware of that and we know it, and the consumers don't. So often, I mean, I'm thinking of when we recently sold on the water here, and I was in the door for 10 minutes and chatting. And while we were walking around the home, they said, "So do you have a buyer for this? Do you think you can find a buyer? We want this to be, kind of on the down low, but will you be able to bring a buyer for that?" And, you don't want to get into the weeds of, well, actually, technically I can't. But, we found a workaround and, a way to deal with it while being legal, and that's getting our own brokerage. But it's a challenge without question. Shannon, maybe you want to add to that.
No, I think that's it. That is a challenge for us. It's just communicating it effectively. Being a sub brokerage like we are at Remax has definitely helped that.
And there's a follow-up here, and I think it's for Matt. Well, there's two follow-ups actually. So one is, what are the other two things sellers look for when hiring an agent? You said one is knowing you can find a buyer. What was two and three?
You know what, Andrew? I'm literally on NAR's website trying to find that agent, the link. I will say that it doesn't matter because, and this is just from my perspective.
Yeah.
I'm not saying that our audience would think it doesn't matter. I just find this industry is so complicated at times because we as agents and we make it that way that I just remember that standing out to me as such simple human basic language. They just want to know if I can find a buyer. As I quickly skim the article, I think it was, can they price the home? Can they price the home properly? Can they help with paperwork? But at the end of the day, I think what I can do really well is I try to establish a distance between myself and the agent that I'm competing with is I'm going to show that seller how I can find a buyer through different avenues that they've just never even thought of before.
No,
And that's way more important at the luxury level because a luxury listing, like several of my listings expect to be on the market for 2 years. We plan a strategy that takes us from 0 to 3. So finding that buyer is absolutely crucial for them to know where you're going to look and how is it different than what everyone else is going to do.
Alex, so to that point, how do you prepare the seller that, this is not going to happen, immediately?
It's historical data to show them. It's also a conversation about pricing because I can sell it much quicker if the pricing reflects that, right? So it's just giving them a good overview of the whole picture. If we're looking for the price you want, it's going to be a journey. And it's your journey, and you get to pick how fast we get to the ending. But there are certain things you can do to speed it up. And if the price is the only thing that matters, then it's going to be long. And I'm just very frank and very honest that you're not giving me a situation here. Like, don't give me a 30-day, 60-day listing. The large listings I have right now are 1 year. I start the conversation up front. I don't anticipate getting this done. If we get lucky, the buyer's either sitting there and waiting because your home's so unique that when you come to market, they're going to show up like that. And if they don't, then you're waiting to find that buyer, and we're looking for that buyer. So it's a long process. And if they know that ahead of time, and we pace ourselves accordingly, we don't do all our marketing in the first week. We go very hard, breathe, then have enough energy left and enough resources to go back a few times.
Okay.
Well said.
Right. There was another follow-up question here. And are you willing to share some of the buckets of where you find buyers from?
Yeah, I think we're willing to. Alex and I have invested a lot of time in curating a list of let's say athletes, Canadian-based athletes, Canadian-based celebrities, C-suite executives. I'll give you a real life example. The Toronto Maple Leafs, if you go on their website, just like any professional sports team, not only will it list all of the players on an active roster, but it will give you management, coaching staff. And what we did is we curated the list. It was very time consuming. And then what was even more time consuming is we went out and found their social media handles, Instagram, Facebook, LinkedIn. And you'd be surprised how, or maybe some of you won't be surprised, but a lot of them are very easily accessible. So now that we've got this list, in the event that we are presenting this presentation, we don't show the consumer the list, but we can confidently say we're 350 names and growing. And I do like to tell a story. I think if you are sitting there, think of Warren Buffett before he became famous. What was one of the things he invested in? He invested in himself. He went to Toastmasters to learn how to public speak so they could tell a story. So Alex and I like to tell a Shania Twain story where we had Shania Twain was actually commenting on a house for sale. Now, how did Shania find it? Well, she probably wasn't on realtor.ca, but maybe her publicist came across it, who's filtering her DMs or her private messages. So we're telling these stories, and I will throw a caveat in there, and I would say it to a seller because I don't like to say anything publicly that I wouldn't say to a seller. I can't look you in the eye and say Shania Twain's going to buy your house. I can't do that. But I can look you in the eye and say we're going to go the extra mile here because we just never know where that buyer might come from.
When we started our $39 million listing, before it went to market, people were talking about it. And someone called me and said, I think this professional athlete might be interested in your home. He had bought nearby, and rumor was that he wasn't that happy. So I did a little digging, found the person that knew him best to talk to, and we put it in front of him for a showing. That was the first person that knew about the new listing. So we are absolutely, when we say we're trying to find the buyer, being very proactive about that.
So following that line of thinking, what kind of social media, do both your respective groups use in terms of promoting and getting the word out about your luxury properties?
Yeah, Alex, we use a lot of the traditional sources, like I'm sure Shannon and Tamara do as well. I don't know if there's a secret sauce. Maybe Shannon and Tamara will enlighten us, but I don't know if there's a secret sauce. I will go back to the comment I made on the bucket, where one of our buckets is direct messaging to an affluent community. So depending on where the listener is living, if you know your market, you could probably easily geo-target. So let's pretend you get a luxury listing. It's in an affluent community in your neighborhood or in your city. I'd start with geo targeting. If we're on the social media side of things, I'd probably start geo targeting a specific market. And I'd encourage you not to water down the geography. I would kind of go higher impact. So if Facebook is asking you how much money do you want to spend, and you say $100, I would generally focus it within a close radius of your listing. Not only will your client see it and you look really good, but their neighbors are going to see it. So when you're out door knocking later, you're like, hey, I'm the guy that's got your neighbor's house up for sale. And they're like, oh, yeah, I saw your ad on social media.
The other thing is that, again, it's curated to the client, because we have two high-end listings now. One, uber sensitive about security and overexposure. The other one, tell everybody. So at that open, so we have two events, two very different events, back-to-back week. The one is very high level. We've got a coffee station. They're serving lovely treats. Everybody's leaving their cell phone at the door. They can't take a picture. They can't do a selfie in the house. The other guy has signs up saying you can take any picture you want as long as you hashtag us, so that we know who you are and where you're coming from. And it's like a free-for-all. So it's really, again, conversation with the client. Let me just tell you, it really depends on the client. On the other one, I'm actually, chasing people off the lawn so that they don't take a selfie of the lake. I mean, it really comes down to the client, and what they want, we deliver.
Okay. Tamara, Shannon, what about from your perspective?
Yeah, same thing. I mean, we're everywhere on social media. I mean, I think it depends on, again, the client depends on who the buyer's going to be. So who do you feel that buyer's going to be and where are they? And I think looking at from that perspective, because that's who you want to market to. Are they a Starbucks drinker? Are they like, and I know that sounds so funny to look at those minute details, but that's what you need to do is when you're targeting who a buyer is find out where they are, find out their patterns, where do they shop, what are they going to do, and then target your advertising with that in mind. Majority of buyers who we look after, we're looking at that 45 to 60 price point for that luxury market. They're on Facebook. They're not on Instagram. They're certainly not on TikTok. So it's just looking at where that buyer is and then concentrating on it. And one other thing I'll just add is when you do that targeting for geographical areas, as Matthew said, which is we do that a lot. It's fantastic. Make sure you're going in and checking to make sure is that working and tweaking it. A lot of times, we'll see people will do an ad and they'll go, okay, it's done, perfect. I'll just have that ad run. And, maybe you need to go in and tweak it. Is it going after the market you need? Are you getting the click-throughs? Do you need to change the wording? Just watching and monitoring can make a difference too for longevity of those.
Perfect.
I'm curious from you guys, because I was just recently, I met you all I met some of you before, but I met all of you in person in Halifax at the Remax event. And I noticed before I was kind of the parts where I was in the room, I was listening to the talk of like the Remax collection, the stuff they're doing there. I was curious for like you guys, how are you kind of leveraging like the brand? Because I know you guys have which I didn't realize this, selling like the most luxury in Canada right now. So like, how are you leveraging that network when you're doing it? Or how are you approaching it from that end?
We are certainly, and actually, it was a bit eye-opening for us because I didn't realize that Remax was number one for luxury. So the conference was great, seeing some of the marketing materials and seeing, the box for the listing presentations and the caliber of materials that we've got. I feel like we've just sort of leveled up a little bit, or the brand has. We've got Stone Sisters brand, but it was really nice to see the way Remax is sort of evolving and having a little more for that. So just some of those materials are proving to be helpful, I guess, for lack of a better way to say it.
Again,
And
people are really nervous, right? Especially at the high end. You're selling a large home. You want to know that your money's going into a brokerage and being protected. That's going to be there. There's credibility factors, credibility on us, it's credibility on the team, and definitely credibility on the brand. And when you speak to Remax of being in 110 countries, when you speak to the fact that they are leaders in luxury and they have great systems, great management, then all of that makes them feel more secure in their decision. You don't see a lot of no-name brokerages listing high-end properties. There's a reason for that.
And one of the questions coming in the chat here, and this is a question for all of you, is what experience do you have with international buyers?
Alex, tell your recent story.
Yeah. Over 30% of my business is still international. with a ban, with a, with a foreign buyer's tax, it didn't matter. If it's 2017, I was at 53%, I'm about 32% now. 32% of my transactions have an international buyer or seller. It's still very much a part of the market, which is why we market internationally, and it's why a brand like Remax and the collection give us strength in that market.
And how are they buying, Alex? Can I interject and ask a question? Sorry.
Yeah, no. So international families are packing up their life and coming to a different country. They do a lot of research. They know all the angles. There are loopholes. There are ways you can buy. And these are families traveling. So they buy as families. So they may have a brother or a sponsor in Canada who buys the house for them. They will reimburse them at some point in their lives, or take it over when they have legal status. It's very common. You also have expats coming back. You have people who, just because they live abroad, I've got a client coming in from California, but she's entitled to buy in Canada. Yep. So you've got to, it's again, understanding the market. I'm currently working with a buyer, a couple from California, one from Dubai. So it's still very much an active thing. It's not as busy as it used to be, but still a very important segment of the market.
Shane and Tamara, how about you? Do you work with many on the international side?
We do, but not to the same degree that Alex is by any means. And partly is I attribute some of that is to, our geographical location, potentially. It is known to be tricky. We have had, a few that have come in, and even with the loopholes, they're not able to sort of figure it out. So they're renting for the time being, and slowly we'll be making the transition. So we're keeping them as clients. It's just they're not able to actually purchase at this point.
Here's a question coming in from John, which I'm curious. It's a slightly different type of question than the rest. It's about like how you work luxury. It's actually around the side of how do your brokerages support you, and what can brokerages do to assist you on the luxury side of the business?
That's a great question.
Yeah, it's a nice question.
Anyone want to jump in and take it?
Sure. Always. So we're very lucky. We're with Remax Escarpment. They're very committed to luxury. They have a luxury office. Our manager, Lynn Hoffman, is very involved in the Renowned Collection, which is a series of luxury listings curated as a collection, a website that supports it. They do strongly support us in our international marketing efforts. So they understand that luxury is a very important part of the market, and they certainly have thrown their help and resources and guidance behind it.
Anyone else? Any feedback on like what brokerages could do to assist their agents when they're trying to kind of do the luxury side of the business?
Well, Shannon, you could talk. You were on this weekend about the unrepresented buyer who wanted to purchase a property. So
that's true.
And our broker did step in.
Yeah, that's actually a very good point. So we had a buyer come. We have a property that's listed that's a toy. I mean, really, it's a storage garage for your toys. And it's in the luxury price point. So it's a place that you buy to store your fancy cars, basically. So we had multiple offers come in on that property. One was unrepresented buyer. So we actually shifted both buyers to our managing broker. And he stepped in and handled the whole transaction for us. He was quite nervous about having us be involved with having an unrepresented buyer. It might make the brand look bad or what have you. So that was amazing for him to just step in. He ended up working. I was seeing the emails at 11 o'clock at night. So I did bring him wine the next morning. I thought he deserved that.
Well, so that's probably a good segue into another question that was posted. What kind of amenities are luxury, ultra luxury buyers looking for in the market today? I know it might vary in Kelowna versus Oakville, but maybe you can just elaborate on that. And Shannon, since you're on the screen, you go ahead.
Oh, sure. So for us, and partly is again where we live, we're very much a lifestyle community. We've got beaches, we've got wineries, we've got golf courses, we've got skiing. It really is a fantastic place to live if anybody's wanting to move here. I'm just kidding. But so really lifestyle driven design properties. And that's something the luxury market, they're moving here for lifestyle. They're moving here to enjoy the lifestyle the Okanagan offers. And so that's important. Outdoor living, big grand kitchen spaces, high-end appliances, but where they can entertain. Most often they're gathering people, they're wanting to enjoy that property in an entertaining lifestyle point of view. Spa style properties, automation, smart home automation, because typically those people are traveling quite a bit. They want to make sure that their home is secure when they're traveling and when they're leaving. They want things to be easy. So secure properties, that smart home automation, privacy is a big factor. And then proximity as well, location, do they want it to be on the water, at least walkability of the water, views, do they want their own vineyard? So location is a big thing too.
It looks like Shin and Tamara, you have a lead for a future client in the chat because Wade is saying he's going to retire in Kelowna.
Yes.
So
Matthew,
curious
do you
one. If you have more to add, yeah, no,
Well, I
I'll
was just
save my
Matthew,
question for after.
Alex, I need more to add on that because you're in a different market.
Energy efficiency is becoming a big thing. So things like solar, geothermal, heat pumps, toys are always big in my world. So we've got golf simulators, home theaters, convenience because they're busy people, heated driveways, definitely heated bathrooms, heated, floors in the basement, that kind of stuff.
But I'm curious, one thing that I'm always interested in, this is in different parts of the market, but using the luxury one here, is like when you started kind of getting into the luxury side, were there things when you were doing it that surprised you that it was either a small or big part of it that you weren't expecting?
Who are you
Yeah.
asking, me or
Well, I mean,
anyone?
I'm asking really any of you if you want.
Okay.
I'll jump into that. I think I was really intimidated getting into luxury. I thought that they would be really sort of stuffy, not as friendly. Maybe I was really sort of nervous. And before we first embarked into luxury, I'd been selling for quite a while. And they're regular people. They, as Alex was alluding to earlier, just, knowing that you know what you're talking about, will respect their privacy. That is, the confidentiality, I think, is something really important. But they are regular, fun people. We've become actually really good friends with a number of our luxury clients, just similar values. So that was the surprising one for me. They're not all stuffy. Some of them are, but most aren't.
Surprising one for me was vulnerability. It's always vulnerability because you think you're dealing with these high net worth people that have big houses, big egos, lots of advisors. They know what they're talking about. You think you're going to go in and really, what are you going to tell them that they don't know? But they are way more exposed. They're worried about security. They're worried about too much exposure on their house, people knowing it, people judging them. When I advertise a luxury home in a platform like, say, the Globe and Mail or the Post, you should see the comments that come in. They're not all, wow, this is amazing. There's a lot of, how dare they have a house like that in this world, in this economy? Who would want to live there? Is that Trump's house? You get all types of nonsense. So these people are vulnerable. People are judging them. It's still their home. They do have to worry about security. They do get a lot of con artists that approach them. I will advertise a regular listing and get a few email inquiries. As God is my witness, I get 10 a day scams coming in on the $39 million listing. It's like they come from all over the world, from all these luxury magazines that are legitimate and real, but people, the world is funny. So when you go into people in the luxury world, particularly the Uber luxury world, they are really looking to make sure you get that and that you're going to protect them. And there's a vulnerability there that I never expected. And I actually really admire when they can show me that, because then I can make it right.
So kind of related to that, how do you keep in touch with luxury clients? Because, I would assume on a lot of different levels, they're very busy. They don't have a lot of time. So how do you make sure that, they remember, who you are and, maintain them on your client list?
Don, I actually have a nugget from the previous question that is maybe something everybody could take home with them. It's a $30 a month investment, and if nothing else, your confidence will go up. So about 2 weeks ago, The Economist had an article, and it was, I'll paraphrase, but it's like, how do you predict the future for the middle class and upper middle class? Well, you look to the high net worth, ultra high net worth demographic. And generally speaking, what it's saying is whatever the ultra high net worth are doing now, or are interested in now, will filter down to the bigger, think of it like the masses. So the $30 investment might be this: read the Globe and Mail every single day. Even just skim it. Just read the Globe and Mail and concentrate on the business section or the report on business section. Subscribe to The Economist, subscribe to Fortune magazine, and subscribe to the Rob Report. It's $30. The Canadian Revenue Agency does allow you to write that off. Disclaimer, check with your accountant first. But where I'm going with that is it's such a confidence booster to be able to walk into anybody's home or at a restaurant or at the hockey arena tonight. You never know who you're going to meet, and know what that luxury car is, what the value of the watch is on that person's wrist. What are they talking about when I overhear them on the phone talking about some new AI investment that they're making? It's a wonderful thing to just kind of wake up in the morning knowing that you're just that much more confident when you head into a meeting or head into a conversation.
Love that.
Now you should mention that the newsletter that you got me on, because that's a great one too. Just a quick read.
Yeah, that's just a plug if I'm allowed to. It's not affiliated to any of us, although CREA, Realtor.ca is advertising on it, but that's the Peak. There's a newsletter called The Peak, and it's a daily newsletter that comes out. It's all Canadian news. It's a quick little summary. It takes you 3 minutes maybe to read it. It's a brief snapshot of what gold is trading at and what the TSX is at, and sort of headline news, what China's doing, what's going on in the UK. Like it's just a little snippet, and then there are links you could read further, but it's exactly what you're saying, Matthew. It's just a quick way to be informed, and then as you see people or relaying information, being aware of things. Shannon, I'm going to get you to speak just on Andrew's question about how do you stay in touch, or whoever it asked was, how you stay in touch with people.
For 1 second and give Andrew a plug. Andrew, over the years, you and I hadn't met, but I read your email every morning, and I made my agents on my team read it, because you hit the highlights of what we needed to know in the industry and got us thinking. And so kudos to you for that, and what a wonderful resource that is for all of us. But to Matthew's point, it's just knowing what's going on.
Thank you. And are your checks in the mail?
It's true. I read yours every day and The Peak every day.
Yeah.
Good.
And
communication. Sorry.
No, I was just going to say, talk about the mayor's lunch, Shan.
Oh yeah. So just touching base with our clients and keeping in communication. I mean, really during the process, the selling process, it's up to that client. We ask our clients, how do they best want to have communication? Luxury clients, we talk to much more on the phone. We try to meet them in person whenever possible. We're always asking, hey, can you meet for a coffee? It's just so much easier to convey high customer service, to really hear how they're doing, their feelings, what they're looking for when you can meet them face to face. I mean, what do they say? 60% of communication is done when you can actually physically face someone. So texting and email doesn't really work. It's really hard to convey a message properly. So we do that. And then throughout, just to make sure that we're top of mind, we have a monthly newsletter that goes out. So that's just an automatic newsletter of, we pick different topics and send it out to anything that's sort of real estate related. We touch on all different aspects. And then we hold a few different events throughout the year. So we did do a mayor's lunch where we have our mayor come. We have him come and do sort of his, city announcement for sort of what's happening and that sort of thing, and talk about it. So it's an intimate group of clients that we invite to come for lunch, and they get to hear firsthand from the mayor, ask him questions in a personal, intimate environment. We also have the Economic Development Commission. They just released all of their new stats from the economy for kind of the growth and projection for the Okanagan. So we did a luncheon and had all of our clients come to that. We've done wine tastings where it's, again, a very intimate group where we, a new winery opens up, let's go and experience this together. So it's trying to create experiences for people or educate them, sort of two different avenues.
Interesting question came in terms of artificial intelligence. Are you all using artificial intelligence, Chat GPT, or some other AI vehicle in your businesses at this point in time?
Yes.
Yeah, definitely.
Definitely.
Yeah, I think if you're not, like, respectfully, you might be a bit behind the eight ball.
Can you maybe elaborate on how you're utilizing it?
Sure. Yeah. Nobody go blowing up my phone for trade secrets here, but I think as it relates to going back to what does the seller want? Well, they want buyers. So if you go to social media, which is a language most people know, and kudos to Andrew, he definitely helped us out with this. Andrew Fogliato, that is. Dark ads. So dark ads that are being run, let's use Facebook as an example, where the general, like, the seller's not going to see the dark ad. If you don't know what a dark ad is, I'd encourage you just go do a bit of research on it. And Alex and I like it because we just like it for lead generation. We also like it because once you explain in 1 to 2 sentences to the seller what a dark ad is, they really like it too. So we begin to utilize AI and machine learning to create a win-win for the consumer, but also from Alex's and my standpoint as business proprietors. We want to drive revenue. We can do that through lead gen.
Well, it was interesting at our Activate conference in Halifax. Somebody actually gave a little tidbit. If you ever see the word nestled in an ad, there's a 90% chance that it's AI, kind of created. So just watch out for that word nestled.
That and gleaming. Gleaming is a big
Gleaming,
one.
yes.
There's a question here from Justin from Niagara. He's newer agent, 6 months in the business. He's done 5 purchases and 1 listing, and he wants to break into the luxury market, but doesn't yet have the luxury credentials or portfolio to lean on. What would you recommend for someone in his position? Should he start door knocking, introducing himself to build relationships and show hunger, or focus on growing experience before positioning himself in that space?
I don't think there's a right answer. Like, I think he has to do both. I think if you don't push yourself into that, if that's really what you want to do, you got to go and wear it. Like, you got to wear it. You got to know the listings, know the agents, know what those houses are like, and put yourself out there. But at the same time, you got to eat, right? So you keep, everything that's working. If he's done 6 deals in this market as a new agent, he's doing well, and he shouldn't abandon what's working. But maybe use those as opportunities to get referred or leveraged up. And don't think it's an overnight thing. I don't get a luxury listing in a year. It might take me 3 or 4 years. So don't go be thinking that you're just going to give everything up to go do luxury. Start including it in what you do. Start knowing it. Start hanging out with those people. Go to things that those people go to. Talk to people. I support the things that my clients support. So if there's events that I know they're going to be at, I'm at that. But it's a gradual process. So don't give up what's working. Keep going with what you're doing.
And we have another question here, which is interesting because it's from the perspective with luxury, who in theory have the money to get whatever they want. Do you gift your buyers or sellers after the transaction? And what type of gifts do you give? If so, if anyone wants to jump in.
We gift them. It's knowing, we're in wine country. We have all these great wineries. More and more people don't drink. So I think it's paying attention to people to find out, okay, would they appreciate, like we like it, as Shannon was saying, we like an opportunity to be with them. So take them for a wine tasting at Mission Hill, or take them for dinner to one of our really nice restaurants, Waterfront Wines, or something local and experience. Like to do something like that. We have lots of people though who are too busy, aren't interested. You certainly can't just go with a regular gift basket, or we could, but I don't think that would have any sort of traction.
We customize a lot of stuff, so it's for them. So if it's a home that they built, they've lived in for a lot of years, they cherish, they're giving up a family home. We do a painting of their home. People throw out paintings of their homes, so it kind of hangs around for a while. If we're giving a case of wine, we personalize it with labels, customizing it. It's their house wine. We put their new house on it, acknowledge the beautiful home they bought. So it's really always customized, personal, something they're going to keep around.
We did a painting, just to elaborate on that, Alex, you just reminded me. We did a painting. We had a well-known athlete that sold their house here in the Okanagan. And when they moved, we got a painting done of their kids. They've got 4 kids and they have a beautiful property on the water. We had a painting done of their kids jumping off the dock with his fishing boat. And so, kind of showing their lifestyle that they had in that property, again, times that emotional factor. And I just went to their new house not long ago, and that painting is front and prominent. It doesn't go with most of their other things, but it's right there as soon as you walk in. So obviously it did mean something to them. So trying to keep something that's going to have that longevity and a personal touch, but it has to be customized for that luxury market.
Okay, Andrew, I guess we're getting near the end of things here.
Yeah.
Maybe we can conclude with if you could give one piece of advice to somebody that wants to be more successful in the luxury space or wants to move into the luxury space, what would that one item be?
For me, I think a big part of it is your reputation and integrity are everything with all segments of the market, but certainly the luxury market. So make sure that you're just aware of that. You're doing the right things, stay consistent, act luxury even before you are luxury, and doing, having your personal brand. That's how we ended up getting here is we just started servicing our clients as though they all were luxury. And it kind of, it just built momentum on itself.
Great advice. Anybody else?
Yeah, I'd say don't stop investing in your craft, compounded with be intentional. So if I will say, like, luxury is a catchword, so be careful. It is a different beast, and it is not for everybody. That new agent that asked the question a minute ago. Like, I think what Alex said is exactly what I would do. I would be intentional that I know I want to try luxury, but don't stop your bread and butter. Like, it's a quick way to get out of the business because these luxury listings cost a lot of money. They take a long time to sell. And if you don't sell it, you're out of pocket and the next agent's going to scoop in and take it from you. So just be careful, be intentional, and don't stop investing in what you want.
I'd be authentic, be real, let them be vulnerable with you, let them tell you what you need, be honest and straightforward, because they're really looking for someone that if you're gonna build a relationship with them for 2 years to sell this house, you got to build some foundation there. So make sure they see that you really do care about them. And I always use the line, it's my line on everything, it's your journey. It's just my job to get you to the end point you want. So tell me what this journey should look like and I'll get you there.
Beautiful.
Love that.
Well, that brings us up to the top of the hour. So I really want to thank all of you for kind of coming on and sharing everything. A lot of great feedback in the chat. I don't know if you guys are reading it, but a lot of thank yous. This was great. Do more of these. So to get you guys on more stuff and kind of talking about more. So people, if want maybe a quick thing, if they wanted to find out or send you guys a referral, anything like that, where would they do that? We'll start with the Stone Sisters.
So you can go onto our website, stonesisters.com. You can follow us on Instagram. It's Kelowna Real Estate Stone Sisters. I think Tamara's personal one is Tamara Stone. Mine's Shannon S. Stone on Instagram. We would love to help. So please reach out if you've got other questions after this too. We're happy to answer those.
That's good. And Alex and Matt?
I put Alex's email and my email in the chat there.
Oh, great.
Don't worry, Alex. I didn't give them the bat phone number, but similar, ReganIrish.com. You can find us there.
If we're doing our job well, you should be able to find us really easy. Just go to your computer. I think we'd like to believe our marketing guys got us all out there.
And thanks, Don, for co-hosting. And sorry you had to draw the short straw of reading the legal disclaimer there.
That's all right. Next time it's on you. Anyway, well, thanks, Andrew, for hosting, and thanks everybody for participating. And have a great day, and we'll hopefully see you all soon.
Thanks, everyone.
Thanks,
and
everybody.
I'll be sending out
the.
I'll be sending out the recording in the next day or two, and we'll include some of the links that we talked about in this as well. But otherwise, thank you for coming, and we'll see you all soon.
All right. Take care, guys.
Everyone.
Okay.
Thanks.
Bye-bye.
Bye.